I was on the front page
she
of
wants
Hackney
sympathy.
Gazette
What she want to do?
because
Oh my
I
God.
had been kidnapped, taken, by the kidnappers to a river.
And this is the bullshit right here, because only in feminist cultures a woman can falsely accuse a guy of rape, but then we give her the mic to tell her sad stories. Like, why should we care?
Them gyal are wicked, them wicked, them wicked. Them gyal are wicked, them wicked, them wicked.
Okay, so I had promised you guys I would follow up on this story. The fitness influencer who falsely accused the guy of rape without the G, thanks to YouTube terms and conditions, Y'all get what I'm saying? So she basically did an interview with a podcast. And the first thing that I noticed with this podcast, y'all, they title it, I Need to Clear My Name. First of all, clear your name for what? You either did it or you did not. There's no clearing your name. And then there's clear as there evidence. There's you on the camera admitting that you did it. So what do you mean clearing your name? So that within itself, it pissed me off. I watched a couple of minutes of the interview and I was just so pissed off. I was not going to do this video, but I said, you know what? I had promised you guys, and the purpose of my channel is to expose how there are evil men and evil women in this world. The difference is those evil women blame men for their evilness. Like, it makes no sense.
Man, this is some bullshit.
And this is exactly what Victoria did in this podcast. Blame men for her falsely accusing a man of sexual assault. Like, make it make sense. But that is the world we live in. That is why I say, men, save yourselves. But y'all, let's take a listen to this podcast. Fair use, of course, fair use. This is for educational purposes only, for us to point, laugh, and
Get to the chopper.
I was charged, caution, and I had to go on probation. So I have a criminal record. And
Are you saying that you wanted to get him back because of the abuse?
I called the police 19 times because I was at fear of my life.
What was the psychological effects that it had on you? How would you describe that?
I kept finding myself in relationships with abusive men.
Do you think that your father being absent in your life contributed to how you view men?
I witnessed the most horrific acts of domestic violence. I'm talking, my mom was regularly beaten black and blue.
You said that this video was made nearly 10 years ago.
Yeah, I can't even believe somebody could hold on to a video that long.
Why is it being released now?
I don't know. I think you need to ask him that question.
When did you decide that in order for me to get him back, because that's what you mentioned in the video, that you were going to make this false allegation? Like, when did that thought process land?
Like, I felt that at that point that the only person that could stop this man was me.
so many things we can dissect from just the intro alone. First of all, she said the person paid Gucci. Gucci is a content creator who released the footage. Someone paid him to release the footage. Okay, if he got paid or not, you still lied on camera. You said, like, that's beyond the point. Like, I don't even know why she even mentioning that. Secondly, when she's talking about how her father's absent, we all have childhood trauma, especially if you're black. And we have childhood trauma. That is no excuse for us to falsely accusing a guy of something as serious as a rape, and then she take it upon herself as if she's Batman to, or if it wasn't, I had to seek justice. Like, come on now.
Come on, man, you don't know better than that.
She said she was arrested. She has a criminal record. I don't believe nothing this girl said. I need to see her mugshot. I need to see the criminal record. I tried Googling it, couldn't find it, because of course, you know, it's in the UK, it seems like, and I don't know how they do things there. I really did try Googling it. If anybody out there who have the resources to find her criminal record, because I need proof, I need evidence, because to me, it seems like she's just trying to brush this under the rug. Hence why she mentioned that it's been 10 years. What 10 years have to do with anything? If it was 50 years ago, you still falsely accuse a guy of rape. And if it wasn't for his friend recording, he would have still sit down in jail right now. So it's not like you had to change your heart and say, you know what, I feel bad, let me take it back. If you got caught, why the man is not in jail. You see why this pissed me off? Y'all saw why this pissed me off. But you know what? We're going to dive into it. Remember, this is a reaction video. Because of fair use, I have to pause. I give my 2 cents. But the full video is linked in the description if you guys want to watch it.
How are you?
I'm great, thank you. How are you?
I'm very well. Thank you for asking. I mean, this has been a very intense couple of days for you, I'm sure. How have you been feeling? How are you managing?
Actually, I've managed to stay quite grounded. I've got an excellent support network and community around me, which I'm just incredibly grateful for.
Why do we care how she's
I'm in
feeling?
the middle of a 21-day juice fast, which has really just allowed me to just not react to things that are being said online, but really just respond with truth and clarity. So I'm super, super grateful for this opportunity to set the record straight.
Well, thank you for joining us to Set the Record Straight. I'm looking forward to this conversation. So before we get started, tell us a bit about yourself. You've got an amazing platform in terms of wellness and fitness and caring for the body. So for those people that don't know you prior to this scandal, tell us a bit more about what you do and who you are.
So I run one of
So
the...
if you see why this pissed me off, like y'all. All right, let's just.
fastest growing detox and wellness academies
Why
in the
do we
world,
care
and
about
we
her
teach
platform
people
when she falls
essentially
into the
how
guy
they
of
can
rape?
reclaim their health.
Why
giving
on
them
earth
tools and techniques.
do we even care
predominantly based around fasting,
about her
but
platform?
also
Why are
other,
they giving her an opportunity to
other
promote
health healing
herself?
modalities? So movement's a really big part of that. I also support, I guess through my time of growing my community, I support a huge community of people online with just daily inspiration, providing them guidance around juicing, working out, health, wellness. That's essentially what I do in a nutshell.
Obviously, you're not in the studio with me. So where exactly are you?
So I'm currently in Jamaica. We are in the middle of running our Reset Wellness Retreat, where people across the world fly in for a week to come and detox and reset their body in paradise. It's been an incredible experience. And yes, we're right in the middle of the retreat, but it was really important for me to be able to take the time out and respond to this video and really just shed some light around it as well.
Okay, that's good to hear. Obviously, from your brand being very wellness, fitness, dietary, just looking after your body, it's very contradictory to what has come out.
I see a lot
recently
of people
about you.
in the
So let's
comment
talk
section saying that this podcast needs to be cancelled because what the hell? This girl falsely accused a guy of rape and y'all coming up here talking about. So tell me about yourself.
about it. Obviously, there's been a lot of conversation surrounding you and this leaked video online. Let's kind of start by, I think what we need to kind of clarify is your relationship with men, first and foremost, because certain things that you were saying in the video kind of showed that you don't like men. So kind of talk me through that. Like, what's your relationship or your view towards men holistically?
So just to give you a bit of context, my mum's Turkish, my father's Nigerian. I was born and raised in London. Both my parents came to the UK as immigrants back in the 80s. My mum actually couldn't speak any English. Turkish was our main spoken language at home, and I actually ended up learning English at school. My relationship with my father was a very interesting one. He was a well-renowned journalist, had a publication called Business in Africa magazine, and I was his princess. I had a very, very close relationship with him growing up until the age of 12, when he then moved to South Africa to pursue his business and his career. And at that point, things really changed for me. Going into my teenage years, not having my father present, I would see him once or twice a year, but he didn't play an active role in my life at all. Kind of going into early teenagehood, adolescence, and at the age of 19, at 47 years young, his life was tragically taken. He was assassinated by a family member, and that was for me probably one of the most traumatic experiences I had to go through, as a young adult, in my early teens, losing I would say losing my best friend. I looked up to my dad so much. We spent so much time together, even though he wasn't there physically, he still was my idol, and to have his life, to lose him so tragically at such a young age, I think definitely played a burden on me for sure.
Well, I'm sorry
So
for
you
your
falsely
loss. I'm
accused
really
the
sorry
guy
to
of
hear
rape.
that. Do you think that your father being absent in your life contributed to how you view men?
Not having my dad around growing up didn't influence my view on men. I think what it did do is it created a space for where I didn't have the right guidance, nurturing, or support structure as a young person. It created the space for me to just essentially encounter challenges, going through, my teenage life from the age of from the ages of 12 to 16. So from year 7, to year 11, I went to 6 different secondary schools. I was expelled 3 times. I got myself
you know
involved.
what? I would have given her so much respect if she had came out to this interview and said, yes, I falsely accused a guy. There's no excuse for that. I served my time. I dealt with my consequences. The video is resurfacing because she claimed it was 10 years ago, which we're going to dive into that soon because somebody in the comment section did the math and realized that there no way can be 10 years ago.
Lies.
If she had said, you know what, I did my thing, I served my time, that was a while ago, you know, I regret it, I live with regrets every day, I try to move forward by focusing on my business, focusing on my health, and helping other women to also focus on their health. My heart goes out to men who are falsely accused of rape. My heart goes out to real victims of rape. Like, I am so sorry for doing that. I apologize to the public. I apologize to my supporters, my followers. But I have so much respect for her. But no, instead she want to come up and talk about how many schools she went to and how her dad left when she was 12 and how her mom did. Like, are we serious right now? An interviewer just sitting there talking about, okay, this is the world we live in where we can give these women who falsely accused. That's the worst thing you can accuse somebody of. The platform to not only promote their business, but to play their victim story, talking about, oh, my dad left. Whose dad did not? Oh, my God. Really? All jokes aside, come on now. Majority of our dads, come on now. Come on. Especially, let's continue.
With, you know, a gang of criminals, you know, to say it quite frankly. And I almost got myself murdered at the age of 15. I was on the front page of Hackney Gazette
what she want with you?
because
So, oh my
I had
God.
been kidnapped, taken, you know, by the kidnappers to a river. Had all of my hair cut off. I had a bag put over my head and thrown into the river. I was in a hospital for 2 weeks in concussion. And as a result of that, there was multiple attacks at that time. But as a result of that first attack, I was put into witness protection, which I later came out of because I decided not to pursue the charges. But at that point, I also was in social services by the age of 15. I was in a foster home. My dad wasn't around, like I said. And both my parents really tried their best with me. I am an only child. And I think by the point where they realized that my life was in serious danger growing up, at the time I was in Hackney. So when they realized that my life was in serious danger, my dad decided to step in and remove me from the UK. And I ended up finishing my studies in Germany. I went to the Berlin British School and I ended up finishing year 11.
Okay, wow, that's a lot to take in. There's so much to unpack in what you've just said. But what I want to touch on is, you mentioned, you talk about your dad, but where was your mum when all of this was happening?
I also lost my mum in 2021 to COVID. She was 56 years young. So that's, you know, talking about my mum always get a little bit emotional. But up until the age of 12, my mum played a really active role in my life. You know, she was the mum that would take me to every single after school club, swimming, horse riding. You know, she is an incredibly strong and inspiring woman. That
I understand that, like, when you're doing interviews with people, you know, you have to warm up, you have to, you know, but not in this situation. Not with this scenario. Not this. Because if say a rapist, right? He was convicted, charged, served his time, and he is out. Would they be interviewing him and say, oh, so tell me about your mom and dad? Because the crime she did is as equal as the rapist. One person both of them committed the crime. Both of them should have faced the same consequences because both of them destroyed somebody's life. The rapist destroyed the victim's life, and she, with her false accusation, destroyed the guy's life. They wouldn't be talking to a rapist like this. Again, as much as it pains me to be having to watch this, it aligns with my channel. Using my channel to just expose these wickedness. Because there are a lot of people who are confused as to, oh, why men are done dating, why men aren't taking women seriously, why men aren't providing no more. Men aren't the same as the 1940s, because in the 1940s, when a woman falsely accused a man of rape, she wouldn't have a platform to promote her business. So things has changed. Like crazy. Y'all, this pissed me off. This is pissing me off. But I promise I'm going to try to push through it. There's a specific point I want to get to. I'm going to try my best to push through it. As I said, the full video will be linked in the description box.
But love and nurturance into me growing up. But when I hit the age of 12, she met somebody, and the person that she had met was living in Tottenham at the time. We were living in South London in West Norwood. And within a few months of meeting this individual, he was a Turkish man. She fell pregnant. They decided they were going to get married and have a child. So essentially, at the age of 12, my mum had decided to start a new family. And I think that's really when my struggles with men really began. And throughout those years, throughout those teenage years, throughout the adolescent years, from the time that my mum was with this man, his name was Sayed, I witnessed the most horrific acts of domestic violence. I'm talking, my mum was regularly beaten black and blue in front of me, had her hair dragged, had her teeth kicked in while she was pregnant to my younger brother. My stepdad kicked her in the stomach. And, it was just one of those things growing up. I ended up really resenting, because I had no control. As a teenager, I had no control. I had no way of protecting my mum. And I thought, definitely at the time, maybe I can seek safety and comfort on the streets. And that's what I did. I got taken in by the streets. And I remember, 14, 15, that was another thing as well. Whilst I was still at home, I also had challenges because my mum, being Turkish, is white. My stepdad was white. My little brother was also white. So I also felt like I didn't fit in. My dad wasn't around. So the closest space, or I guess the closest I could feel home was really the safety on the streets. And I remember going through my teenage years thinking one day I'm gonna kill this man for what he's put my mum through. And that's essentially, I think, was the beginning of the relationship. The beginning, I guess, the beginning of it all was witnessing
and as
domestic.
I said, going back to what I said, going back to the whole purpose of my channel, there are wicked men in this world. There are evil men in this world. But there are also evil women, wicked women. The difference is those women are going to try to play the victim card. They're going to try to say, oh, no, I should not deal with the consequences of my wickedness. Let's put it on the men. I can do the worst of the worst of the worst, but I'm going to come here and shed tears to distract you from the point at hand. They've been talking for over 12 minutes and 42 seconds now. And the fact that they have not even addressed, listen, you messed up. You did a false accusation. You tried to ruin somebody's life. And if it wasn't for the guy, Gucci, secretly recording you, the guy would have still been sitting in jail and you wouldn't admit, you wouldn't come forward. How many men have you done this to before? Like, what if somebody was to do this to your son? Because apparently, allegedly, she's a mom. She has a child. She has a son. Like, those questions that we should be asking, those questions they would have been asking if this was a man sitting right there. Like, it's disgusting. It is very disgusting to me. This is the world we live in, and then you have these women who gonna see this kind of content and talk, oh, you're male identified. Like, seriously?
Violence, the severity of what my mum went through growing up. And I know a lot of people can relate in Turkish cultures, especially Turkish, Arabic, any kind of ethnic culture, to be beaten by your husband is normalized. It's one of those things that it's like, women just have to endure it. We have to accept it. And, that my mum, because of the sake of my younger brother, she stayed in that relationship.
What was the psychological effects that it had on you? How would you describe that?
It almost normalized it, so it was no coincidence when I hit 26, 27 that I kept finding myself in relationships with abusive men. That played a really big part in terms of my psychology and, not realizing, I think it was more of a subconscious decision that, I was making, that I would end up in a relationship with men who at some point would end up abusing me. If it wasn't physically, it was emotionally or mentally.
So go get therapy.
And it was a pattern that was...
Go get therapy, go find out how you can break the pattern. Go pray, go do something, whatever you have to do to break the pattern. But falsely accusing a guy?
Continuing throughout, kind of my adult life.
So let's talk about the video, the recent viral video. So when the video first dropped, you mentioned that it was fake and it was AI. Can we talk a bit about that? Like,
this is the part.
So given the size and scale of my account, I'm not the person that always is behind running my account. So the video was sent to me, and my first response to the video was that this has been edited, this is fake. And that's what I said to my team. So they then took that and said it was AI. When I realized that they'd put out it was AI, I deleted the story immediately. And, then went forward with saying it's a very, very real video. It's just been, it's a 7-minute video that's been edited.
So beyond the point, again, moving the goalpost. Because if you're going to say, oh, this is fake, how can a lived experience be fake? She claimed it did happen. She claimed this is very real, but it was 7 minutes long, so we're just going to say it's fake. You admitted to falsely accusing a guy. You did that. You were there. You were the one on camera. You have the memory of that. So how on earth the thought of it being fake even crossed your mind? No, she's going to push off responsibility to her team. Say, oh, my team is the one who said told them this was...
specifically to show me in a particular light, you know. So I think there was a misunderstanding there for sure.
In a particular
Obviously,
light.
there's a lot of things that we need to unpack about that video, but you mentioned that, you know, like you hate men in that video. And obviously you describing everything that you've gone through psychologically.
No. The interviewer needs to dig a little deeper in that. Oh, at first I thought it was fake because the original video is a 7-minute long video. Because they edited it down to focus on the main points of the video, then I claim it was fake. And then the interviewer just wants to skip over that. Like, oh, okay. So in that video you mentioned...
One could argue that, you know, it's understandable why you would kind of have that viewpoint. But you've mentioned that your dad didn't contribute to it. It was your stepdad. And then you also entered into abusive relationships. What did those abusive relationships look like? What did you experience?
You know, in relation to the video, the person that I was in a relationship with, it was over a period of 18 months. You know, when I first entered a relationship with this guy, generally I would, you know, be naive enough, because I'm someone who wears their heart on their sleeve naturally in every scenario, every situation. And, you know, one of the things that led me to even entering this relationship was just being vulnerable enough to take people for face value. You know, the manipulation that went into pursuing the relationship from him, you know, early on in the relationship really was, you know, when I look back and reflect, I think, okay, you know, I definitely was in a really broken state. When I look back at that video, because, you know, I've watched it a couple times, and just to set the record straight, you know, that video was filmed almost 10 years ago. The person who I was speaking about in that video wasn't arrested and wasn't prosecuted. Whilst I said some extremely, you know, vile things in that video, a lot of people have really focused on the hate and the anger. And
I'm so sorry. I'm just going to cut you, because you said the person in the video that you were referring to was not prosecuted, was not arrested, was not charged.
Absolutely not. He wasn't, you know, he wasn't charged. He didn't go to jail. And actually the video was provided to the police. And because the video was provided to the police, he managed to get away with those charges. And as a result of that video being provided to the police, I was charged, caution, and I had to go on probation. So I have a criminal.
So the issue is, what if the video was not provided to the police? What if Gucci did not secretly record you? That is the issue.
Record. And, you know, that was a decision made by the police at the time. So I really had to pay the price.
Okay, so we're moving along a bit quickly here. So the video, the man that released the video, Gucci Walker, I believe, right? Am I correct?
Correct.
Yeah. He released a statement saying that his friend, the reason why he made the video was because his friend was charged with a false rape case. Yeah. And at the hands of you planned it. You had the man in your house where you both had intercourse, and then the police caught him there. So he was going to jail. He couldn't bust case on this particular matter because he was found in your house. But you're saying that that didn't happen.
No, so he did get arrested, and because the video, you know, was provided to the police as evidence, he was released. He never got charged, and he, you know, I never saw Denzel again. That was, you know, over 8 years.
She said he wasn't arrested. She literally just said he wasn't arrested.
Flashback.
The person who I was speaking about in that video wasn't arrested and wasn't prosecuted.
Feminists. Lies.
Them gal ya wicked, them wicked, them wicked. Them gal ya wicked, them wicked, them wicked.
He went on with his life. I went, you know, we made a lot of mistakes during that relationship. That was probably one of the most traumatic. I've been through 2 very, very traumatic relationships in my life. One of those, I mean, when I say traumatic, you know, violent and abusive, one of those was with Denzel, the person that was in question in the video. And his ex-partner warned me. She was a teacher. She had a non-molestation order against him. And she said, look, this guy, she told me exactly what was going to happen in the relationship. And I didn't believe her. Denzel, you know, convinced me also not to believe her. And, you know, and I really paid the price of that. One of the biggest things, you know, that came out of the relationship is during the time that we were together, I fell pregnant. I ended up contracting an STI. He gave me gonorrhea at the time. At the time I was working at Microsoft, I had a very successful career with a 6-figure salary. And he told me that he was an ex-football player, semi-pro football player.
Listen, y'all, okay. Because you find a situation, you find yourself in a situation with a man like Denzel who give you a STI, got you pregnant, who lie and whatever. You leave the situation. Any soul-minded person will leave the situation. But because she's as equally as toxic, allegedly, because we don't know. We need to hear Denzel parts of the story. So allegedly, she's equally as toxic as Denzel. So what she stay in the situation. And like, oh, am I going to get up? I'm going to accuse him of rape. Are we serious right now? And then she's coming on here because she knows the talking point to say for women to support her. I said this in yesterday's video. If you want to go viral on TikTok, you come out on TikTok and you play the victim card about how your spouse, your significant other, your man, your baby daddy, whoever is abusive, is narcissistic, is belittling. You say all those triggering terms, and women will rush. Oh, and he cheats. Yeah, he cheats. Women will rush over to support you. So she knows this. How can I get out of this? Or I'll claim that he was abusive. We don't know, because we do not know these people personally. So we do not know what really went on behind closed door. But as I said, the point of this is to just show y'all how someone who falsely accused a guy of rape is given a platform to not only clear her name, because, excuse me, what? How are you clearing your name? It makes no sense. How are you clearing your name? You either did it or you did not. I like to see that people in the comment section of this video weren't too happy with the platform and how they tried to paint her in this innocent victim light, like giving an excuse as to why she did what she did. As I said, if she had came out and said, yeah, the video was 10 years ago, and that's something I want to address, because she said the video was 10 years ago. In the video, he said that she was 31. But no, according to people in the comment section, her bio says she was born in 1988, right? In 2005, if she was born in 1988, that would make her 37. In the video, she was 31. That was 6 years ago. She talking about, oh, this was over 10 years ago. Again, another lie. That's why you cannot believe nothing that comes out of this girl's mouth. If somebody will sit there and admit that they falsely accused a guy of rape, and they're saying it so casually, talking about, yeah, he got what he deserved. He lied all the time. So this ain't nothing. A lie, so casually. Acting like she steal his pencil. Yeah, I stole his pencil. Nothing wrong with that. I stole his pen. He can get another one. This is somebody you can really trust. That's why when this platform brought her on to not only share her sub story about her childhood and how her dad abandoned her and then her mom started a new family. Notice how she used those triggering words like, oh, her mom started a new family. Everybody else was white but me. And don't get me wrong. Like, yeah, that can cause some childhood trauma. That can cause some abandonment issues. Like, come on now, who does not have abandonment issues? However, that is no excuse for falsely accusing a guy of rape. No. Just to highlight how they treat a woman versus how they treat the man is just beyond me. It is wild. It is crazy. Y'all, I promised y'all that I will follow up on this story. Again, I do not believe for the life of me that this girl was arrested. I need to see criminal record. If there's anybody overseas, over in the UK, who know how to access criminal record, I need to see a mugshot. I need to see the arrest report. I need to see something to believe that she was actually arrested, because I would not put it past her that she's going to say, you know what? Tell the media, tell the world that I dealt with the consequences already, so we can push this under the rug and not move forward. So one thing I want to point out though, I noticed that at the time when I did my video earlier this week, she was at 752k followers. I noticed as of today, she's at 751k followers. So it looked like, people are peeping game and, unfollowing her. I realized that my sister was following her, and I reached out to my sister and I said, hey, you're following this demon. And I sent her my video, I sent her the information, and she did go unfollow her. However, she said she followed her because of her, health, fitness, wellness. She do some juicing, and my sister's in all of that, juicing, cleanse, all of that stuff. But she said there was always something about her that just never sit right with her. That fakeness that people have, you can't put your finger on it, but you can tell that they're not genuine. You can tell that, there's just something about them that don't sit right with you. But she said she follow her for the information. I'm a believer in eating the meat, spitting out the bone, focus on the message, not the messenger, unless the messenger did some BS like this. But y'all, leave your thoughts in the comment section. Forgive me on my frustration. Like, things like this just piss me off. I do not like to get pissed off. So, I take my... That's why I said I wasn't even going to watch it, but I had promised you guys that I was going to review it. So here we are. I'm going to go do something that brings me peace now to just calm down. Because this right here, That is why men, save yourselves, black men. The Bible says it's best to be in the wilderness than to be surrounded by Victoria Everetts of the world. And this is why, because the Victoria Everetts of the world will lie on you, and then the world will give them the platform to tell their story, to play victim. If y'all want to watch a full video, it's linked in the description box. I can't do it. I'm going to protect my peace. I'm going to do something that brings me joy. I will see you guys in the next one. Take care, y'all.